going on, Motorsports fans? This is Jared here with the Bearded Garagistas. Always with me is my brother Brett.
What's up?
And tonight we have. You want to introduce yourself?
Ken Bionis from Palm Beach Dyno. I don't blame you for not wanting to say that last name.
That last name's brutal. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I work somewhere, when I got to call out names, and if the name is like more than like 2 syllables, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm mostly Ken B to most people.
There you go. Ken B from Palm Beach Dyno. Really happy to have you.
Anytime, man.
Appreciate you coming down. You brought down the beast today.
Yeah. Brought
really
the new GT500 with me.
I was really excited about that. I gotta go look at it after we're done.
Take it for a ride afterwards if you want.
Hell
We
yeah.
heard it coming up.
Yeah, we could hear you coming down the block, and we were like, "Oh, that's probably him."
Got very excited.
So, I mean, let's kind of kick it off. How we kick off all of the episodes, and how you got started into the cars. I know you did a lot of stuff before that. We'll kind of cut all that fat off, and we'll go straight to the meat.
Yeah, I mean, the car thing for me kind of came a little bit by mistake. Probably a lot different than a lot of your guests. I was not a car guy when I was growing up, and went to college, electronic media. I got a job doing video production,
Right.
and I bought a Mustang, and just that kind of got me into that group of people that modifies cars. I didn't even really know much about it at that
Went
time.
downhill from there.
Yeah, big time, man. Actually, I hit a deer. That's how it all started.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I hit a deer one night, and then I started looking on the internet. I mean, this is a long time ago. You're talking early 2000s.
Yeah.
So, I get on the internet, start looking for, I need a hood. Let me see if I could do a different hood.
Right.
And I stumbled on a Mustang forum, and I was like, what the heck is all this stuff?
Oh, man.
And, met some local people in Cincinnati. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio back then. Mm-hmm. I met some local people. And, it kind of, it was downhill from there. Before I knew it, it was like camshafts
right?
and all this stuff to my car, and I needed a tune. And, that's kind of basically how I became a tuner. I modified my own car to the point that it wouldn't run. And the go-to guy was pretty far away. I trailed my car like 4 hours to get there, and I didn't even meet him the first day.
Really?
Yeah, like he was this really well-known guy, but nobody really knew him. Like he was like the guy behind the curtain.
Right.
So like you dealt with another guy, and he would tune like 15 cars in a day. He would do these dyno sessions. Well, what he was doing was gathering a bunch of data to start a tuning company with these tuning weekends.
Okay.
Yeah, so he would do them all over the country. And so anyway, I met back up with him one other time to make some tweaks to my car, and we kind of struck up a friendship.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, I'm getting ready to start this company. You might want to consider, getting in on it. Not on the company, but on becoming a tuner.
Right.
And, he took me under his wing. I wasn't really, like I said, I wasn't really a car guy. And I came from the computer side of things. He was like, well, I can either teach a car guy about computers or I could teach a computer guy about cars. So I think
Kind of worked
we'll
out.
try that out. So
But there's a big difference. There's a big difference between like a tuner and a good tuner.
Yeah.
So how was it from like you got into the tuning game, and then like how much longer was it till you like honed and perfected your craft?
Well, I mean, every day it's getting perfected, but a long time, honestly, to like, I mean, obviously at the time I thought I knew, I was the best in the world, of course, but I'd say looking back on things, it takes a good 5+ years, at least.
Really?
Yeah, and the thing about me in particular, there's lots of different types of tuners, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to talk about that real quick. You've got a guy that could go to school to be a tuner. There's really good schools for that. Like True Motorsports that are using standalone computers and all that sort of stuff, and it's a profession.
Right.
Whereas what I do, I'm more of a hacker. That's a tuner. We're tuning stock computers. That's what I specialize in. I can tune anything,
right.
But that's what makes me different. Like you got all your Holly and Fuel Techs and all these standalone computers, and you can go buy that today and get a manual for it and teach yourself how to tune it over time. But you can't do that with a stock computer. There's no school for that. Ford's not going to tell you how to tune their
they don't want you to change your shit.
So it's really. What I do started as a 100% hacker type thing, like one of the other guys that taught me how to tune. I mean, that was his big thing. He was like I swear to God, he was the world champion of Doom or something like that for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I thought he was kidding. I looked it up, but he was serious. So he was like more like this hacker computer guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And he actually wound up being the first engineer for Ford in that in the calibrations division that wasn't even an engineer because of his background of just
Holy
hacking
shit.
stuff.
That's crazy,
And then he
man.
started a small company, and then he eventually bought Diablo Sport,
Okay.
which was located in Delray Beach for a long time, and that's how I wound up in Florida. So,
So you kind of, by knowing him,
yeah, I started my own, shop and operated that for quite a while, like 4 or 5 years, roughly. And then he recruited me because Diablo Sport kind of lost the Ford business to my other buddy who started the other company, which is called SCT. Those are like the two big in the Ford world. So SCT started, that my buddy started. That's how I became a tuner, and he took all the Ford business. And then Diablo headhunted me sort of to come down to Florida to revive their Ford business.
oh, not bad.
Yeah,
I see where that's going.
So that's kind of how I got connected with both companies. So
Kind of feels good, though.
Yeah.
Getting recruited.
Well, the original guy from SCT is the guy who recommended me to Diablo because he left
Whoa.
SCT and it was bad blood, and he was like, "You should hire Ken." And
Oh, wow.
Comes out,
there's a lot of
man.
drama in the tuning world,
All right.
man.
I didn't know it was that deep.
It is. It is. There's a lot of. It's a big business, believe it or not. Especially Ford. Obviously you can get handheld tuners for any kind of thing nowadays, but
Right.
the Ford market is huge for this sort of thing. The street cars.
Right. So mainly specializing in Ford, but I know you'll do anything.
Yeah. Well, anything as far as American that will tune. Like Sean Musa, he uses my dyno, but he brings another tuner in
Right.
to tune I think they use Mega Squirt on that. Not that I can't do that, but he brings in Jordan, who's a specialist in that
somebody who's
particular
specialist
platform
with
and
that
all that.
platform.
Right.
But I have a Hellcat also that is my daily driver. So we tune those. We tune GM. My specialty is for sure Ford, though. I've been doing Ford since 2003.
How much has Ford changed?
It's
Have you had to evolve what you do?
Well, the whole tuning market has evolved because they all kind of follow the same path. Although Ford is probably, nobody would argue this, the most complex control system of any of the, at least
I wouldn't have thought
GM
that.
and Dodge. At least GM and Dodge. Now, I don't have a whole lot of experience in any of the real, imports and stuff like that. But so, for instance, most of us know if you go back to a carburetor, you got fuel and you got spark, and that's
Right.
nothing else to tune, right? How much air to idle or something like that.
Right.
That's it. That's like the least of my worries. We've got 4 camshafts that are all independently controlled.
Damn.
You've got onboard wideband sensors that are constantly monitoring air fuel ratio, even at wide open throttle. That's still not common nowadays.
Really?
Hellcats have that, but not like regular Dodges, for instance, just
Yeah.
the Hellcat. You've got 4 knock sensors now, monitoring knock. You've got, electronic throttle bodies. I mean, it's just, and the new GT500, it's got Magna Ride suspension that's constantly monitoring, the suspension and the
Holy
ride.
shit.
It's
Crazy.
ridiculous. We don't tune things like the suspension, but everything else, once you change a throttle body, you have to make sure that works correctly. Or,
I assume it
crazy.
rolls downhill, right? You change one thing, you have to go back and check and change all the others.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually what, to me, it's just like it all ties back to the computer mindset, which is I still have at my root. It's more about like figuring out a problem. Like, how do I get this car to run right?
So I was just gonna say, it's like problem solving and
yeah, it's
really difficult to puzzle.
It's it's exactly what it is. I was told my wife should be really good at it because she likes those puzzle books. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the same thing because it is a puzzle. Because nobody is telling me how this table over here relates to that table over there and this part. Why am I seeing this much timing? You have a lot of the information in front of you, but you don't necessarily know how it all relates to each other because there's no, like I said, there's no manual.
There's no manual.
Yeah, and even then, on top of that, with stock computer tuning, you don't even have access to everything all the time. If you have think of it this way: if you have a book that's 100 pages, I might only see 20 of them. Now, I might know there's something I'm not seeing, like page 21, and then I can talk to the software manufacturer and go, I know there's a table I can't see. It's got to be there. And then they got to figure, it's pretty crazy how hard it is to get these new cars to run the way they do. But we eventually get them to run, like you can change anything on them. Like the GT500, that's one thing. It's already supercharged from the
Yeah, you
factory.
don't really have to do much.
There's not a lot,
to-
but we take a stock Mustang GT that's 400 and something at the crank, And we just finished one up recently, and this is a pretty common package for us. It's a twin turbo setup on E85, and they'll put down a 900 to 1,000 to the wheels on a stock engine, stock Mustang GT. So, but we got different fuel injectors and twin turbos and different fuel system, and all that has to get calibrated in the stock computer.
Do you enjoy the problem-solving side of it?
Yes, which is the good and bad of my business, because it's not always that, right? Like my business, we deal in volume. Like I'm not we have a local dyno shop in Palm Beach, Palm Beach Dyno, but like that's 10% of our customers. We do tuning all over the world.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's sort of like you're almost like the helpline for like some guys out in middle of Utah. He doesn't even have a dyno shop near him. Anyway, it's not even like the guy's not qualified. He's not near a dyno shop.
And what are you doing? Looking at logs, like computer logs, and changing?
With the Mustang, like I said, they have so many onboard sensors that we're able to do so much logging, and we do so much volume. So, like, if a guy now when the new car comes out, it's challenging. But like for instance, 2018 Mustang that's been out 2 years, we've done a ton of Whipples and Vortex and Pro Chargers and all the different setups that. It goes from the fun part of figuring out a puzzle to kind of being a little bit of more like data entry. Like this car has this, and this. I build the file, boom, send it to them, and then they log it, send it back, and we make tweaks. And most of the time, unless they maybe installed something.
That's a game changer though, because I know a lot of people who, when I'm at the track and I hear them complain, like, man, my tuner is at another race this weekend. He can't get over here. Something like that, where you can just make a phone call and kind of get a new...
we do a thing called trackside support. So, like, we tune your car, let's say, remotely. We can do it on a dyno remotely, but a lot of guys are just doing pulls on the street, logging it, sending it to us. So, all right, you're ready. Well, we do trackside support where you go to the track Friday night. Well, I'm at home, sitting at my computer. Or I bring my computer with me. I go out to dinner. I might be doing trackside support. You're in Oklahoma City. You do a pass. You mail me the log, I look at it, because most of what we do nowadays is all automatics. That's what is fast.
Right.
So there is a lot of fine tuning at the track, right? I can get the power right on the dyno, but I can't get the shift points right, or the power on the leave.
How that driver actually drives the car, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. How much power it needs on the leave. Maybe the track's in bad condition. They may be racing for money. I can pull time.
And that's all
tuning
the
the car. Like while I'm eating dinner or whatever. It's cool. Sometimes on my phone. Insane. Sometimes I'm going somewhere where I don't want to take my laptop. So I set my computer up with Team Viewer and then Team Viewer into my laptop. And I do it all, like while I'm at like a social event that I don't want to have my laptop at.
That's pretty,
not for everybody.
Yeah, but
we have something important going on.
That's pretty impressive though, because I mean that's huge. That's some to know you have a tuner in your back pocket at any time.
So like my follow up to that is like old school mechanics hate how technical and complex new cars are, and they just wish that it would go back and it would be clean and simple. Do you enjoy that it's getting more and more complicated and more technical, so that you can enjoy that problem solving side of it?
Well, I look at it. Yeah, I look at it two ways that I like it. One is from the puzzle solving. The part I like about it, figuring it out. Can I figure it out? Like the new GT500 or any new platform that comes out, like the race is always like, who's the first tuner to do this with it? Who's the first? And I'm like super competitive. Like we can bet on anything or do, bouncing a ball against the wall. Like who can do it better? Like, so it doesn't really matter what it is. But also I like it being complicated, honestly, from a business perspective. Because I feel like I can figure it out, so it gives me a competitive advantage, which obviously puts money in my pocket. So
that's awesome.
People seek us out from all over the place because
they know
and we're one of probably 3 or 4 really well-known national guys in my space, like with Ford stuff. Yeah, so
that's crazy.
Yeah, and
did you think that? Like you said, coming down to Florida was because you were recruited, but you took the gamble, I assume, to branch off and do your own thing.
Well, the Florida thing was actually a step back from what I currently do, because when I was in Ohio, I had a full service shop and the 2 dynos and sort of what I do now. And then when I went to came to Florida, that was for Diablo Sport. I was working for the manufacturer of the hardware at that point. So I kind of stepped back from the public tuning, and I was helping them develop their software and get everything correct. So their tuning software was correct, to tune Fords and all that. But I just didn't enjoy it at all, because there was none of that, like, we just set a record, or, I like making people happy.
Right. Yeah, that's real.
And that job was only like hearing other shops like, I need this parameter's missing, or I need to tune that. And it wasn't like, there was no like payoff.
There was no excitement.
Yeah. So then I went back into working directly for, like what I do now. I worked for another company called London Racing, which, grew real big through that time. And then in 2016, I left to start Palm Beach Dyno on my own. So, and then now we've got, I was literally me sitting in an office by myself to now there's 8 of us, So
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
crazy.
I feel like I don't remember when Palm Beach Dyno started, but I do remember like hearing about it, and I feel like it just like blew up overnight, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, having a background in media obviously gives me a little bit of an advantage there too.
Yeah.
Because I do. Honestly, I would love to hire a young kid out of college that could do it all.
Right.
If I could find a kid like that, I would, because it's hard running a business. I don't do all the tuning anymore. I have other people that work for me, but I do all of our social media.
Right.
I do all the YouTube videos. As far as I shoot, I'm on it. I edit it. I do all that stuff.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So, but that's been a huge benefit for us. We're 4 years in, and we've grown tremendously, and really haven't tried to grow it, other than the social media part of it.
So you said you had the Hellcat, and now you have the GT500.
Yeah,
Can we go? Which one's better?
Yeah.
Without pissing people off?
It's gonna probably piss Hellcat guys off, but not on purpose. It
is what it is.
But let me start off with, I love that car.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite cars I've ever owned, right? But I look at it as a luxury car that's badass and super fast, and I look at my GT500 as a race car that's street legal. You know what I mean?
Okay. How much of that, like, where you love Ford, so how much of your Ford love is coming into that?
You got to put a good chunk of bias there. but not that much, though, because, I bought the Hellcat.
Right.
Well, actually, I leased that. But anyway, so I didn't totally commit. But,
I didn't go crazy.
Yeah, but I love that thing. But like a good example, I just put carbon fiber seats in my GT500.
I saw those.
There's
Very
no way
nice.
I would ever do that in a Hellcat. That would be crazy.
There's no reason.
Right? There's no reason, but people go, oh, it's so heavy. What's the difference? Guess what? A GT500 is almost as heavy as a Hellcat.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you can't really use that excuse. But the GT500, it's built around a true racing platform. It's based off a GT350. The suspension on it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so you can take that to the track and actually whip it around a circuit course, not just a drag strip. Right. To whereas the Hellcat, I feel that's just a drag car. You're not going to take that to the circuit course and kind of.
Right, and some people do it. They actually offer that when you get it. Like you go to a track and they
get out of here.
Yeah, there's like people do it. I didn't do it with the Hellcat. I'm gonna do it with they do it with both the GT500. It's up in North Carolina, so I might go do that. But some people like to. As far as racing, I do a lot of drag racing, but I also do not as a participant, but tuner. I've done a lot of tuning for road race cars. Mm-hmm. So I worked with Black Forest Motorsports. They did a Challenger program in back when it was called Grand Am, the GS class. They ran against the Mustangs. My original company had a Mustang FR500C, which was like in 2005. Damn. It was my partner's, not mine, but whatever. But we had it, and it was super badass. And we didn't. It was a privately funded deal, so we didn't run every single race. So I've been involved and around it. NASA, American Iron Extreme. Both locally. Mid Ohio is a real popular race course in Ohio. That was our local race course. So we always would do the dyno operation for the NASA races, and then we went out to Utah once and did the national championship.
You'd rather circuit or drag?
You want to know something? I've never done it.
Really?
The GT500 is going to be part of that. Yeah. I actually, when I hit the deer, but back to the deer.
It always comes back
I did
to
the
that damn deer.
hood and I did some, H&R springs and some Bilstein shocks. I was like not interested in drag racing at all. Like I was like, all right, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to road race.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, drag racing's kind of like, whatever. Caveman, like big deal. How hard is it? Like I didn't understand it. I wasn't around that my whole life.
Right.
So I thought it was silly, kind of.
Right.
And then I went to a dyno day. And everybody was like, well, we're going to the drag strip after this. You want to come? I'm like, nah, not really. Why would I want to do that? And then I did it one time. And like, I was hooked. I mean, I was quit my job 6 months later for it. That's how I am on a lot of things, though. Like, luckily I didn't somebody didn't show me head and or something.
You make quick decisions like that?
Yeah, I do. I'm very
gambler.
Yeah, I'm a gambler.
Well, he's got the carbon fiber package on the GT500, by the way.
Actually, I don't.
No,
that's an interesting story. We can't tell the whole story here, but
I was going to say because
that's a base model. So like the carbon fiber track pack's real hard to get.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I know it's a lot more money.
You got to get a golden ticket. Like you have to get the ability to order
really?
Like Willy Wonka style?
Yeah, that's what they.
I thought like you actually
like so basically like some dealers like the dealer I got mine from, they don't get a golden ticket. They can't order one of those if they want to.
What the hell is that about?
Well, they allocate like the dealer I got it. They only get one GT500 period. So I was like, all right, well, I really wanted one of those, but it's over 18 grand.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Add on and for business reasons, I need it as soon as possible. So I was like,
is there a certain amount of GT500s that they're making and then they're stopping?
Period. Per year. I don't know how many years they're going to do.
Okay.
But it's usually about 5,000 per year.
All right.
Yeah. And then track packs, I'm not sure, 500 to 1,000 maybe.
So we couldn't get our hands on the carbon fiber, so you went with the stock.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, I'll beat this thing up for a year, and then they'll hold their value, I think. So I'll just order a track pack and then sell this one and get the track pack.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But then, since I am a drag racer, I was like, well, I need some drag radials. I started looking for wheels for it. And I was going to order a set of stock wheels. I couldn't find those. So I posted on Facebook, hey, anybody, because I got a lot of friends, through the years.
I could imagine.
In the industry. So it's like, hey, anybody know the part number for the factory GT500 wheels? And I get a message. And it's from a friend who's a big insider.
Will remain anonymous.
Big insider. And he's like, hey, I got a buddy who has got a set of stock wheels with tires. Here's a link to on eBay. It's a good deal. He's like, but he's got a set of carbon fiber wheels that he's not really advertising. So that's how I got them. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah. So they're really hard to get. Like you can't even buy them from
crazy.
Ford.
I was gonna say because I saw them at the event the other weekend. And I was like, damn, those wheels though.
Yeah, I love them. Honestly, I was a little scared to drive on them. I really this is the longest drive I've driven on them because I did the TRC event and then we were getting the car ready. We just came back from a drag race this weekend over in Bradenton, Florida.
Right. How'd that go, by the way?
Pretty good. We had quite a few real fast customers there. I didn't bring my race car, wasn't ready.
Right.
So I brought the GT500. I went 10.2 at 142 on the factory tires, which is real good for the factory tire. Yeah. 142 is, probably mid to high 9 on a decent tire. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I had the drag radios with me, but honestly, I wanted to run it on the carbon fiber wheels.
Just see what it does.
Well, and it's a big event for media and stuff, and I just wanted to have the good wheels on it.
Apparently, they made the carbon fiber package for the racetrack because the wheels are lighter and they're stronger. Well, apparently.
Yeah, it's really about the way it was explained to me. Billy Johnson is like the Ford factory driver,
right?
Who drives the Ford GT, but also was one of the development drivers, like one of the main ones for the GT500 during the whole process. So they would get something done, he would go drive it. He couldn't tell us anything, but we knew he was doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So he explained it to me. He's like, it's not really about the weight. It's about the stiffness. There's almost zero flex in a wheel like that. So
that's interesting.
Even at the high levels, they factor in how much the wheel's going to flex into the camber adjustments.
Right.
So now that the wheel's stiff, they don't have to compromise as much. Yeah, and honestly, it feels great. Like it's just so light on its feet. I mean, it's still 4,000-pound car.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a heavy car, and
I got like 130 pounds out of it between. I did the carbon fiber seats and the wheels, and took the back seat out and put a back seat delete in.
Are we gonna do anything other craziness with it? I see you do like a little mod here and there, but
yeah. just stay tuned to our social media. There's that. I'm going to be doing something very crazy with it.
Oh, that's a little teaser right there for you guys.
I can't. It's too top secret though.
How do we always get these like real cool like teasers, like stay
exclusive.
tuned kind of thing? Because you remember the Honda Pro Jason? He said stay tuned for about the color.
Yeah,
and they came out with it.
Yeah, they did.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of customers that are really going after it already. We've got a guy full weight car with just my car went that fast with not adding any power through like boost or anything, stock boost. We had boosts real early on. This was a couple months ago. The guy had the car 3 weeks. We didn't have hardly any parts for it, and he went 970 at 144 in that. So
that's to do with the beard. I watched that video on your YouTube.
Yeah, Stang GT500. Yeah, and that since then we've got the cold air kits. Like my car with a stock pulley is almost making as much as his car now with all this other stuff because I've learned way more. We got the cold air kit was real restrictive on the stock vehicle. We've got one for that now, and it's made a huge difference. So we're hoping for mid to low nines out of it here real soon
with just base stock everything.
Yeah, bolt-ons. Bolt-ons.
Damn, dude.
The big unknown is the transmission.
You don't know how far you could push it before.
Yeah, I know the engine will handle 1200 probably, but the tranny we're not really sure. So.
It's a gamble. That's a hell of a gamble, too.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out.
Like which one of the customers is going to be the first one to push it a little too far?
That's crazy, man.
I mean, that's how you learn, though, I guess. I mean, that's what you got to do.
You got to take those risks.
Yeah. You said, turn the computer a little bit. Let me see it. You said you have a race car, that it wasn't ready.
Well, I shouldn't even use that term. It's my fast car.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's a 2011 GT, Mustang GT, but it's the big theme of that car is still the factory transmission. So it uses the 6-speed automatic transmission. And there's a group that pretty much since that transmission came out in 2011 that, competed to be the fastest. And we do have a yearly, it's during another big race called the Mod Nats in Georgia, and we have the 6R80 shootout. And it's usually pretty good participation.
Oh, so you get a bunch of people who have the same stock transmission go out there and
but it's during like a regular race. It's a separate class, and there's we won it like 2 years ago.
Okay,
we were actually the first in the sevens with that transmission with that car.
Wow.
It was a customer's car. Well, actually, it's a friend / customer. I was the driver for it. We wound up wrecking that car. So. But anyway, back to my car real quick.
Always sad stories.
Twin turbo Coyote is like the huge power combo. There's a million of them. But that's what mine is. It has twin 72 millimeter turbos. It's been 790s at 182 with a real bad 60 foot. Needs converter work.
With a real bad 60.
Yeah, it was real bad. I mean, you gotta watch the video. It looks weird. It looks like I'm just pulling away from a stoplight, and then all
of a sudden just takes off.
Yeah, it's insanely fast.
That's crazy.
You know what's from spending a lot of time at the track. I definitely do see some weird stuff like that. Either the car will like start really fast and die, or it'll start slow and like roll off the line and then catch into it.
Yeah. So we had to make some changes to that. That's going on right now, and I took another 100+ pounds out of it.
Okay.
But it is a street car. I took it on drag week. That would have been 2018.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Awful in a great way.
Yeah.
I had
let's hear this.
the quintessential drag week experience. Now I finished.
You would have made you would have been the key guy that if they did a TV show about it, it would have all been following you around.
I learned. I plan on doing a lot of drag week. I did not register for this year. I was registered for last year. We didn't get the car ready in time. I didn't register for this year because I'm going to step up classes, and I need a new cage. And it just,
how do those classes work? Are they like regular drag classes, or
no?
'cause now you got to drive it, right?
It's sort of like that. The class that I ran is probably the biggest class in drag week. It's called Street Race Power Adder.
Okay,
a small block Street Race Power Adder. There's a big block one too, and I don't remember the basic rules, but it's got to be there's a cap on that class of 850. So you got cars with 850 cages. They're real strict about safety at drag week. So you got to be certified for what you're running. So that's an 850 class. So the key to that class is it's not an index class, but the way drag week works for those watching that don't know is there's 4 4 tracks, and you start at one track. We started in Atlanta. You make as many passes as you want that day until you feel like you've got your best. You turn in your slip, and then you have to drive with no support vehicle, nothing, to the next track. You could pull a trailer with your car, but you can't like have a trailer there that meets you at the next track. None of that.
So you got to there are people
I
that
unloaded my car. I trailered to Atlanta, unloaded my car, and then they have an impound. Then you park your car and trailer over there, and you can't go anywhere near it until you get back a week later.
So what about tools and stuff?
Everything's in the car. Well, that was my first mistake, actually. The guy I went with, he's a real good friend of mine, but he's kind of like a little bit of a whatever kind of, whatever.
It'll be all right. Let's go.
But I'm like, do we need a trailer? He's like, no, we don't need a trailer because when you get to the next city and get to the hotel, there's no parking already, and it sucks to have a trailer. That was right, but you got to have a trailer. You gotta have a trailer. On a car like that.
Lesson learned.
On a car like that, you got a 10-second, like the GT500. I wouldn't need a trailer because you're not really bringing that much with you.
Right.
But I'm bringing a lot with me.
Race car.
Yeah, you got a lot of tools and stuff like that. So we loaded everything into the car, and so the first day, I learned my first lesson is you never abort a pass on drag week, because I made my first pass. I spun, so I just lifted and coasted down the track, and then it started pouring down rain. Oh, so that counts. So I killed my average on the very first pass. I ran like a 14. I was trying to run like 850s. I ran a 14. So we're like, great. Shit. So now it's pouring rain. I don't have a trailer, so where's all of my shit? It's all over the fucking ground.
Jesus.
So the first day. So I get back there. The other guy I'm with is standing out with all the shit in the rain. He doesn't even have an umbrella. So we're goodness. Pouring down rain. This is when there was a hurricane coming in North Carolina that year. Yeah. It wasn't a hurricane, but it was the storms before it.
Right.
So we load all the shit in the car. Got no air in the tires because I was just drag racing. So didn't have an air pump with me. I didn't think about that. So we got to go to the gas station, and everybody's at the gas. I mean, it was a fucking nightmare. So then I go from Atlanta to Georgia. Darlington was the next track, and it was like the worst storm ever. I mean, I was like petrified. I was on my drag radials. That's the other thing about a trailer is you're stuck on the tire.
Right, you can switch the tires if you have a trailer.
Yeah, because I have one now that I built for drag week, and I mount the tires on the outside. But so I'm driving on drag radials, pouring down rain, and there's cars flipped over in the median, like drag week cars.
Holy crap.
Dude, it was like bad. And then you're watching the news.
It's like a cannonball run.
It was crazy. And you're watching the news, and they're like, "Oh, we're evacuating. We're going into areas that they're evacuating
with a drag car."
Yeah, with a drag car. I mean, it just was like that the whole week. So real quick. So I raced.
Real quick. Let's hear more.
Yeah, that's gnarly.
Well, it's a long story, but
you tell it. We got time. So we just chop this up: part 1, part 2, part 48.
Okay, so we get there. We're like, all right, that was the worst night of my life in a car.
Yeah,
like seriously, I kept pulling over, and then we were going through areas that you would pull over, and there's nothing at the exit.
Oh,
pitch dark.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in a car, and it's like you feel like you're getting struck by lightning. That's how loud it is, and it's like pouring down rain. And then I'm like, we gotta go, we gotta get there.
Yeah.
So we go like a few miles. Now I'm like, nope, pulling over.
Oh my.
So we get there. Wake up the next morning late, get there late. And the way it works is you got to get there fucking early because there's so many cars, and they run all the heads up cars, or like there's like a big group called like Street Eliminator, and that's like 10-second and slower cars, and they run them separately from like the faster cars.
Okay.
So if you're not there at the first round of the heads up cars, then they run Street Eliminator for like an hour. So like you have to wait, even though it's late, even though like you have all day to make a pass, all of a sudden you don't have that much time to make a pass. So I make a pass, and the car wasn't ready in time. We barely made the race. Obviously, I'm trying to average 850s, but I ran an 8. It was the first 8 the car had ever run. Ever. So I was like, you know what?
That's a little win right there.
Let's pack it up. I'm good with that. I'm not trying to win the class. We're just trying to make it. So we pack up. I'm like, all right, this is gonna go good. So we pack up, and I think from there, that's South Carolina, Darlington. We go to Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right.
That was the best leg of the trip, for sure. Easy trip. They actually shortened our trip. you're supposed to be driving 1,000 miles the whole trip, but they actually shortened it because of the evacuation stuff. They can't take us down certain roads and all that. So it was actually a nice day. I'm like, all right, this is all turning around.
Cruising.
We get there, go to bed, wake up the next morning, start the car up.
No.
My car has a dead miss.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what the is that? I mean, you can hear it. Like, you just rev it up. I'm like, oh my God, this is, and it's like starting to drizzle.
What's going through your mind, like, drive time, like,
you know, I have two voices in my head, like, why am I doing this? And I'm like, well, this what makes you who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like that internal battle.
Oh,
like,
my goodness.
and I'm that kind of person. I like to struggle, but it was pushing me beyond my limit, and I hadn't done anything like that in a while. Like, I have that personality, but I really hadn't been in that position for a long time. So it really pushed me to my limit,
That's funny.
So now I'm like, all right, well, shit, what do we do? So, all right, it runs and I can drive it. We're at the hotel parking lot. So let's get to the track. We get more help at the track. Other people have tools. Other people have
usually people are kind of friendly about it.
Troubleshoot it. So we get there. I totally forgot a big part of the story in the rain. I got to go back real quick.
Let's go back.
Let's go back.
Let's go back.
So we stop for fuel. And then as soon as we pull out of the gas station, you hear tick, 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 tick. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, I mean, I can't keep driving. I think the transmission's broke or whatever.
Yeah, something
So
big.
we pull over in the Love's parking lot. It's pouring rain. We're out in the rain again. And
oh my God.
we're like under the car. I take the drive shaft out in the parking lot.
Shit.
Checking everything, turning the wheels. Can't hear a noise at all.
What?
So, I mean, we're like 2 hours into this. And then I'm like, well, what the f?
What could that
So we put
be?
the car back down, drive it, tick, tick, tick. And I'm like, wait a second.
No way.
It happened as soon as we filled it up with fuel. And we have all this shit piled in the car.
Oh, no.
The drive shaft on those cars with that transmission has a slip joint in it.
Okay.
And it was bottomed out. So we unloaded the car and it went away. So I had to like dump two 5-gallon jugs of race fuel, which was who knows how much,
Holy
$150. I just left it there.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what do we do? Because like technically I can't even give it to another competitor, even if there was one there, because that's cheating, and we try our best not to cheat. So
My God, dude.
so now we're in North Carolina with a miss. I'm like, this is not going well. So we're like messing with it and everything. And, I'm like, I don't know what it is. So, and we're running late. Oh, it's getting ready to rain.
Right.
So I'm like,
Of course,
We got to make a pass.
we got to make a pass, even if it's on 7, whatever, right? Let's make a pass.
Put on your Lamborghinis.
We make a pass. And it runs like kind of quick it should be an 8-second car. We're in like a 10 or whatever.
Not
High
bad
9.
for a car that's not working.
So we get back to the pit, and I'm like, I start doing some troubleshooting, and I figure out it's an injector. And then like pops in my head, I'm like, at this point I want to shoot myself, especially because now this is my fault.
Yeah.
You should have known.
No, because those injectors were part of like a very first batch from Injector Dynamics when the ID 1700 first came out, and they did a recall on them. Oh. And I knew they did a recall on them, but my car had sat for a year, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that later.
And you forgot about
And then
it.
like I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, these are the injectors that got recalled. So I call up, I'm good buddies with the guy that owns Injector Dynamics. I call him, it's like, hey Paul, what happens when that injector fails that you recalled it on? He's like, it just stops firing. It won't hurt anything. It's stuck closed. And I'm like, I got one. He's like, what happened? And he's like, you're not supposed to have those in your car.
Like, why do you even
He's like,
have
that was like 2 years ago. I'm like, well, I just got the car running, and I completely forgot. So,
Holy crap.
so now I'm in North Carolina, and I'm like, well, do we wait here and get injectors overnighted? Or do we try to make it to Bristol, Tennessee?
Right.
And, get them overnighted there, get there, so that way we're there.
Right.
So I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, screw it, let's do it. So I, unplug the coil, unplug the injector just in case it starts working, which is impossible because it was broken inside. So
Just in case.
and I'm like, all right, well, let's go. We're just gonna go on 7. So I drove to Bristol, which is through mountains. you know?
Yeah.
And it didn't love going up hills a lot, but I gained 2 miles per gallon. So I was on the 85. Yeah, I was on the 85, which was tough, right? You're on drag week, so that's why I had brought some of that fuel with me, just in case I couldn't find pumpy 85. But I had dumped that fuel, and we're stressing on fuel. I mean,
Jesus.
So now it gets worse. So
oh my God,
man.
I thought that was the worst part.
So now we get to Bristol, Tennessee. I talked to my wife. We're getting injectors overnighted. We're good. Wake up the next morning, no injectors. Because of all the storms that are going on.
Nobody's mailing shit.
It delayed shipment.
Oh, my goodness.
So now I'm like, God damn it, what do I do? Like, I need speed injectors.
You gotta be kidding
So now
me.
I'm like, well, I talked to them. They're like, well, they'll be here tomorrow. I'm like, I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I got these expensive injectors showing up at a hotel that I'm not even sure that I'm going to ever see again. And I'm going to get another set back to the original spot at Atlanta. So my wife overnights another set. But I'm like, what do I do for today? So I just go to the track and I just start walking around. Like, anybody got injectors? And some guy had injectors. Now they weren't the right size. I'm using 1700s, which is like 170 pound per hour roughly.
All right.
And he had 1050s, which is like 100 pound per hour. Right. So I'm like, all right, well, I can't run full boost with these injectors, but I think I'm still better off running on 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we put those in. I retuned it real fast. Luckily,
you're a tuner.
I'm a tuner. And I made a hit and it went like 920 or something like that. And,
hey, with some throw together parts.
Yeah. And then
better than the 10.
And then we went back to Atlanta, and then the other injectors were there the next morning. I put the other injectors in, and what happened? Oh, we were waiting forever for the injectors, and I go to leave the line, and my adjustable trans brake button got loose, so my trans brake wasn't working. So we barely get the injectors in time to get the car up to the line for one pass, and it would have definitely ran well. It was a great day, everything was great, and I'm up there and I'm like, so I had a foot brake it and it ran. So obviously,
man.
I made one solid good pass the whole week.
if like whatever could go wrong went wrong on that trip.
Yeah, but you know what, like I'm not like really like that emotional of a guy, but like at the end I was like
exhausted.
I felt like really proud, and like I was like I did it. Like it was like a really good feeling to the point where I'm like I'm doing that every year for the rest of my life. I missed last too, but I do plan on doing it again. They have another one just like it out in out west in Colorado.
That's the one I know of, the one out west. I didn't know they did it east.
Well, no, they do it everywhere.
Oh,
no,
okay.
drag week is drag week, so they do it like the year I did it was those tracks last year that I was supposed to go but I missed was the Northeast, like ATCO and MIR and VIR and all that. Now it's over in like by Chicago. They'll do it out.
Oh, that's pretty cool. They move them around so everybody can.
But then there's
involved.
one called Rocky Mountain Drag Week that 1320 Video sponsors, which is obviously a big YouTube channel,
right?
And they sponsor that one, and it's the same exact format. And it's through the Rocky Mountains. I want to try that one eventually.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I can align with you, not with the whole race car thing, but I did make a trip. And if Bobby is watching this, he'll know what I'm talking about. In my Grand Am, we drove from Florida to New York. I was moving back home. I was like, the hell with Florida. I'm done with it. I packed all my shit in the car. My buddy Bobby came down. He flew down. We like partied for like 2-3 days, and then we drove back. And on the way back, it started pouring. Like, couldn't see 2 feet in front of the car pouring. And we pull off the road, and we're like, all right, well, we need to get fuel. So we pull off the road, and we see a gas station, but there's no lights. And it's like the only gas station. There's like one light on at the gas station. We're like, I wonder if that pump's even open, because sometimes late at night, those pumps will close. So we go rolling over there, and we're like, man, I can't even see. Like, the windows are all fogging up. So we got like the heat on, we got the air on, trying to get them to figure it out. It just would not.
Yeah, that's scary.
And we ended up driving. I think Bobby was driving on this one, actually. It might have been me. I don't remember. But yeah, we drove off a curb.
Oh,
we're in a Grand Am. Like, it's not that high anyway, but it was just like we were driving. It looked like the street. It looked like the road. And all of a sudden, it's like, bam, bam. We're like, I don't think we're supposed to go this way. Like, we both get out. It's like pouring down, checking the tires. Like, everything looks good, man. Let's just get back in. That was rough, dude. But yeah, for some reason, when it rains over there on the East Coast on 95, it's
it shouldn't be bad.
Horrible.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple cars that had some real serious wrecks.
That's so
going through the mountains and
just
stuff.
to think about that. That's crazy.
I'm sure you wish that you could have performed better, but you got to look back and be like, That was a hell of an experience.
Yeah, not everybody does that.
Yeah, because I was totally convinced I was going to give up at one point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So after the fact, I'm like, man, I'm really glad I didn't do that. Because, I had that type of drive when I was a kid, but I haven't pushed myself that hard in a long time on that level. I push myself every day with my business, but it's different. That's like, it's way like more. Even though you got a teammate that's with you in the car, it's like it's just me and him. We're out there by ourselves. We, if we want to give up, we can call somebody and come get us. But if we want to finish, you got to figure it out.
Yeah,
I mean, the first day before I forgot that part when we were going through tech, I'm standing in tech and some guy walks by and looks at my front tire and he goes, "Dude, look at your tire. There's a brand new tire, big, huge slice through it."
No,
yeah, because I'm here in Florida. I had my car drop pretty low in the front. I don't hit hills and stuff. Well, in Atlanta, where that track is, it's very hilly going into the hotels. So you probably, and it sliced the inside of my fender was sharp. I never even noticed. So it sliced my tire. So now I'm in tech, and I want to make some test passes. You tech in on Sunday, you make test passes.
Oh, you should have known from there.
Yeah. So luckily we're in Atlanta. So I'm like, all right, well, let's finish tech, and then we're gonna book to Summit Racing, which is like an hour and a half or something like that from the track. So we go there. I got the wheel. Wait forever. We get a tire. And we're like, all right, we need you to mount this. They're like, we can't. We're like, it says you do mounting on the website. They're like, we do mounting, but we don't do dismounting. So they wouldn't take the messed up tire off the rim.
Oh my god!
So now I'm like, what do we do? Do we go get a knife and try and cut it off? Or, they're like, no, that's not gonna work. And it's Sunday though, like late.
Yeah, nobody's open.
So I went. I'm like, I don't want. I had a brand new billet specialty front wheel. I'm like, let's go to Walmart, I guess. So we went to Walmart and they actually took really good care of us. They didn't charge me or anything.
Hey, shout out to Walmart.
And I watched them do it the whole time. But anyway, so that started out the whole trip. So it was doomed from the beginning.
That's gnarly. I got a question for you. Since you're a Ford Mustang guy, a lot of the cars that you see run Grudge and all those really fast, a lot of them are Fox bodies. Mm-hmm. I know you're partial to the GT500 obviously because you own the damn thing, and your faster car is what year was that one?
That's an 11.
So an 11,
which is different suspension,
right? Yeah. What would you? Do you think Fox body's the way to go, or do you have a preference of which Mustang would be the best for drag racing? I'll say, because I would say right now most of our listeners are probably drag guys, but
using my car as an example, what's best and what I like are two completely separate things, right?
Fair enough.
So the reason you see so many Fox bodies is because it's an Apple, right? You buy an Apple computer and it works exactly how they want it to, how they tell you to,
right?
And everybody knows how to use it once they learn how to use it. So Fox body is, you need this part, this part, this part. You need this transmission, this torque converter, and your car is going to go this fast. And then you start adding in my 2011 is a 3-link suspension instead of a Mustang's sort of like a 4-link. It's a little not straight, but it's a 4-link.
Right.
The 2011 is a 3-link. That was a huge challenge when it came out. And then in 2015, the Mustang became IRS, which honestly, I did not look forward to that.
Really?
And I was like, man, this is going to suck.
Why?
But it did. Because I don't know anything about IRS. I know how to make a drag car launch on a straight axle, whether it's 4-link or 3-link. It's similar concepts.
Right.
IRS is totally different, on a drag radial, a straight axle car, you want separation in the suspension. And an IRS, you want it to squat. So, I mean, that's a huge difference. But luckily I have a lot of good people around me, that.
You're a smart guy. You're all right.
Yeah, we figured it out. So now, I mean, the GT500 will never be an insanely good drag car.
It's too heavy.
An automatic GT with the A10 transmission, those things are monsters.
Really?
I mean, monsters, dude. Crazy. The cars that we do. We just came back from this weekend. We had a guy with a full weight 2015. I mean, you could drive it cross country. He went 8.0 at 176. My car's went 790 at 182, but it's racing.
What did he have done to it?
I mean, that's got a built engine. It's got the factory transmission like what's in my car, but with all the built parts. It's not cheap, I mean, it's got a lot of billet parts in it. And twin turbos and E85. That's basically it.
Twin turbo seems to be king.
Yeah, to a certain, it kind of depends, you know, like the GT500 has a supercharger on it.
Right.
And maybe that's why I like it so much, because I do so much turbo. My other car's turbo, but
Something
nothing
different.
feels like a supercharged, or sounds and feels like a supercharged car like that. It's totally different. Like a turbo car is never going to sound like that car will sound. You know, it doesn't have that muscle car, good exhaust sound. It could sound good, but not like that. You know?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and you know, like a stick shift car, which isn't that popular anymore. I like blowers better than turbos.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're doing with it. But if you're just having like a badass car that you want to have fun with,
Right.
I think a supercharged, like a Whipple or something like that, stick shift car is more fun than a turbo car. Turbo car gets tricky with a stick shift. You can get around it. I mean, people do it.
Yeah.
You know, no lift shifts and all that. But a supercharged car is just like, especially a twin screw supercharged car, it's like having a large displacement engine. It's no matter what, there's always power there. There's no spool or nothing. True. So
Does Palm Beach Dyno shop hold any tuning records right now?
let me see. Yeah, we hold the world's fastest NA car with that transmission. It went 980s, you know. So and we're talking, you know, Coyote engine. So it's just a 302 engine on E85 with that transmission. He's been 980s. That's a record. We did have the record for the 680. I'm trying to get that back with my car. We were first in the 7s with that. I mean, there's so many internet records.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you keep how do you keep
We had
up
the
with
fastest
that?
GT500, but then the problem with the fastest thing is this, right? So like the GT500 is a perfect example. The guy that we went 970s with,
Right.
He's on 20-inch wheels. It's a full weight car with. He didn't even have drag radials. It had Toyo R888s and the pulley in E85 and went 970s at 144.
All right.
Well, now you know this other shop is taking off the big brakes and put drag wheels and tires on it and an ice tank for the intercool. Like made it like more like a drag car.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like I made my other car a drag car.
Yeah, that's the game.
But GT500 with the, you're kind of making it not a GT500 by the time you take off the big brakes and all that. So
how do you judge?
Like I'm not going to go after that record with my car, because to get to beat them, I'd have to kind of
gut
my car, and I'm not going to do that. Now with my red car, that's kind of what that is. That car's light. It has carbon fiber doors, carbon fiber trunk, carbon fiber hood. I just put a carbon fiber dash in it. I mean, it's trying to go. You know, that's my extreme car.
Hell yeah.
But I'm not going to do that with a brand new GT500. That takes some money.
I don't know about money. That also takes a little bit of balls, because you're taking a car that not everybody can get their hands on, and you're hacking the shit out of it.
Well, that's why I'm saying it takes money, because you're probably not going to get the money back out of that car down the road.
No.
But again, it's all about internet glory, and like I'm the fastest GT500, so you know. I wouldn't mind having a customer that wants to do that. I'm just not going to do it with my car.
Yeah, I hear that.
You heard it there. So if you got a GT500 and you want to slice and dice.
Oh, I got a guy. The guy that went 970. He's just done a bunch more stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to Texas 2K.
Okay.
In 2 weeks.
I'm going to miss that one, but I did take the time off, and I'll be at FL2K this year.
Yeah, honestly.
That's my first time. I actually got to email the Victor, I think his name is.
Victor,
I got to email him and see if I can get the media pass and take the
I've
whole
never
camera
been
out
to either
there.
one, honestly. So
Me neither,
it'll be my first. Florida, I refuse to go because my car hasn't been ready during it. I'm not going if my car's not ready, because I didn't want to watch.
How does it look this year, though?
Yeah, I'll be ready. I mean, it's be done next week from the guy doing the fabrication work, and I got some wiring to do. I hope to be making passes by like middle of April.
What are we shooting for?
750s at 190 plus. Yeah, the record right now for that transmission
Rich is like, whoa.
the record is 767, I think.
Okay.
At like I've been the same speed as him, but I didn't 60 foot. But now I got weight out. And that was 30 pounds of boost. I feel comfortable running up to 35 pounds on that car.
Okay.
Before I'd lift ahead.
So you can smell it. It's coming.
I mean, I'm planning on shooting for 6s with that car. Like, I'm never getting rid of that car. Like, that's going to be like.
Damn, you got that Ford love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have so much money in that car.
You might as well just keep going with it.
I don't care what somebody would give me for it. I'd feel like I lost out. So I might as well keep it. And it's really,
It's got the feel behind it.
It's a really cool looking car. I mean, it's really unique under the hood. It's pretty.
I can't wait to take a look at it.
He's got all that history into it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and I've had it. Well, and that car was part of a twin turbo kit we developed. That was one of the development cars. We designed a cast stainless steel manifold for the Coyote. The project kind of died out, but I mean, we did make the manifolds, and that's what's on my car.
Why Ford? If it, like you said earlier, it's one of the most difficult domestics to tune. So why Ford?
Could have won with a Camaro. Could have won.
Probably. I mean,
has it always been Ford?
I was predisposed because my dad wasn't a performance guy at all, but he was he's the kind of guy he's a carpenter, he's a mechanic. I mean, he worked for Procter & Gamble, but he was also like fixing cars for people in the driveway just because he knew how.
Right.
So, and he was always a Ford guy. We always had Fords. But the reason I bought a Mustang, to be honest with you, was the taillights got my attention. I swear. I saw when the new Edge car went by. I was like,
I can't lie, man. I like them too.
Yeah, for that year, it just got my attention because they were a little bit unique looking.
Yeah.
On the new Edge, and I was like, man, look, what is that? I was like, oh, that's a Mustang? And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I also heard, I don't know if this is true. I watched a video and they said that the GT500 has the sequential blinkers, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason why they're allowed to have that is because the first blinker is the appropriate size. So
you don't really need the other two, I guess.
Right. So apparently Audi had sequential blinkers. I just learned this today, by the way. So I could be completely wrong, but this is what I heard. Audi had sequential blinkers, but when it first lit up, it was small, and then it grew to the actual regulation size that it needs to be from the Department of Transportation or whatever. And they had to get away with it from it. They discontinued it. They weren't allowed to keep going.
Wow, that's crazy. So I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's apparently it's true.
I mean, they're big.
Yeah. So because that first light is big enough and it meets it, then they can have the sequential.
Yeah, that's an interesting trivia question.
So on an older podcast, an older episode, we were talking about the comparison between the LS and the Coyote engine. And there's a video online. I don't know if you've seen it, but I know the video where they test that, right? They tested they gave them like a certain amount of budget, and they tested the LS versus the Coyote, and apparently that on the LS on a lesser budget made more power. And actually, it was on Rich. I believe it was on your episode, right, Rich? Yeah, it was on Rich's episode where he said that they didn't change the head studs, and that's the only reason why the Coyote failed.
Yeah, there was a lot of little stupid things as part of that. I know the engine builder that was on the Coyote deal. Honestly, I don't know why they didn't change the head studs on that. That was obviously not a great decision. But also, they just had that one guy tune both platforms. They wanted to bring me to tune that.
Oh, really?
Dyno, but they weren't allowed. They wanted one guy to tune both.
Oh.
And the guy who tuned it is not an idiot. I know who he is too. He's a very well-known racer.
I'm sure.
But the people that put on those competitions, I don't really think they're done really fairly. I don't think it's a good indication because again, I'm biased. But if we're talking LS versus Coyote, talk about the cars that they come in. I mean, I'm not being biased, but
just say it.
The Coyote is pretty. It's hard to beat if you put that against. Look at how many 7-second and low 8-second Coyote Mustangs are. I mean, it's like a cookie cutter combo, man, with a twin turbo.
Yeah,
and you just don't. I don't think you see that as much in the LS market. And I think it's because, and the reason I like the Coyote market so much better is because we're dealing with stock parts, stock heads, stock cams, stock block. We're not. Oh well, that's a great engine, but get rid of that camshaft and get rid of those heads. Well, how good was that engine? Right?
That makes sense.
Damn.
We're taking a stock Coyote, putting rods and pistons in it, and a Whipple, and making 11 or 1200 at the wheels. We're making 1,000 without even touching it. Not touching that engine. 0 things done to it. We don't touch a valve spring. We don't retorque a head stud. We don't regap a ring. All those LS. Sorry, you got LS fans because they're not going to like me.
That's fine.
I love the whole stock bottom end, but they took the whole thing apart and rebuilt it. It's like, okay, whatever. Coyote, you could literally take bone stock, not touch it, and make 1,000 at the wheels and go as fast as 1,000 should make you go. You hear all these power numbers, but then you don't see trap speeds.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had a guy go. Here's a perfect example. I just posted this on my Facebook today. He's in Texas, stock 2018 Mustang GT with a Whipple supercharger.
Did you hear the emphasis on stock right there?
If you're on Facebook, it's stock seal. They spell it weird and everything because they make fun of us Coyote guys.
When the video comes out, you'll see he underlined it too with his hand. Stock.
But so you take a stock one, you put a Whipple supercharger on it. That one did have like some new clutches in the transmission because I mean he's making so much power. It went 880 at 160 miles an hour. Stock. I mean, you probably have 15 grand in that car, and you just get up to the line, and it's a supercharger. So you don't need a trans brake. You don't need a two-step. I mean, literally, you get up and it goes 880 at 160. 10, and it's just
that's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah. And then we just had a guy at the race this weekend with us. On 12.5 pounds of boost. That's super low boost. They're just getting the car running. He went 899 at 154 on 12.5 pounds with the same platform, the A10. So
you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I mean, and they're discontinuing the Camaro.
You make a all right. So
all right, I'm sorry.
He just threw that in there.
Last one.
A little bit, right at the end.
Yeah, I honestly, I would probably own a Vet. I just never really connected with Camaro, the newer one, but I don't have a problem with GM.
It's amazing how much the Mustang like took off, like because it's always been huge. Don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm trying to say. But of all the muscle cars that when they started coming back around, like I don't think anyone the talk really surpassed
it's because the
Mustang.
It's because the Mustang never went away.
I know,
all
but
those
the
other cars
redesign of it was...
I think it's also because the redesign is somewhat motivated from the following, because when I got into it, we were like the redheaded stepchild. Like, everybody was like, why don't you have a Camaro? Why would you buy a Mustang? Like, it makes way less power. Like, we used to have our own drag races just, that's called the modular platform for the people that aren't really into Fords, like 90... On Mustang 96 and newer, when it went overhead cam, we call it the modular platform because some of the parts are interchangeable. So we had the modular, what was it called? The modular shootout. I went to that race in 2004 with my 2-valve naturally aspirated. You know why we had those races? Because if we went to a regular drag strip race, like a regular race that had multiple types of cars, we'd get our asses kicked. So it went from that, and I was always like, man, I really think this is a good platform. It's just new because that's when Ford had first changed to the overhead cam.
Right.
And I had dreams of like, well, maybe they'll do this someday and this someday, and like it's all worked out. Like it really did. They really did. At some point they could have been like pulled the plug and said we're going back push rod. This isn't working.
Right.
But they continued on with the overhead cam.
I feel like how they've evolved the Mustang over the last 10 years. Like they brought back, like you look at it,
10 years
you look at that, and the looks of it bring you to that nostalgia of like the original Mustangs, right? So like the looks of it kind of draw you back there, and then the performance is just.
But what really put it over really cemented it was 2015. That was the year.
Yeah.
Because it became independent rear suspension and it became a worldwide car. They're selling it all over the world.
Right.
So it's the number one sports car in the world. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's the number one sports car in Germany. It beats the Porsche and BMW. Yep.
Britain went crazy when they finally got the Mustang.
Yep.
They went nuts.
Well, because A, it's different for them. B, it's really like the value is through the roof compared to those cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, take a GT500. If that car without the carbon wheels, like my base model car with just like the technology package, the sticker on that was $78,000. Dude, you put any import name on that, and it's $100,000 plus.
Right.
Everybody was like, $78,000. That's expensive for a Mustang.
But the
not
shit
based on what you're getting.
The shit you're getting in
it's
it,
truly amazing.
You're pushing more power than McLaren's. I mean,
and the whole thing, it's like everything about it. I mean, it has the full digital dash. Have you guys seen that on the Mustang?
I kind of seen the inside, but I haven't seen enough. I'm actually kind of.
It's amazing.
I'm almost ready to end the podcast to go check it out.
All right.
Screw the podcast. Let's go look at the car.
No, well, like we have with everybody else. I mean, we've gone for a while now, so. We'd always ask you to come back, invite you back, do another episode. I'm sure we can talk some more, especially after TX2K. Hear what you see out there, because from what I hear, if you don't bring...
Go do another drag week, come back on. We'll love to talk.
Well, no, just TX2K. Like, from talking to Corey, I don't know, do you know Corey Grayley? Honest Work on Instagram. He's got a red 5.0. He does this, he's actually, I think he set another record last at a Friday night test and tune recently for a personal record for himself. And then he's going out to TX2K, and he's like, I don't think I'm going to win, but I would like to set a PR out there and then come back and blah, blah, blah. So he's getting faster and faster. But, I mean, I know him and his little crew do a lot of work on their own, but I got to introduce you two guys, because he'd probably be able to learn a lot from you. But, yeah.
I'd be more than happy to come
after
back. After
TX2K, we got to have you come back and talk about what you got out there, because apparently
Rich has got his hand raised.
Oh, yeah. Apparently Corey was like, if you don't bring, like, everything out to TX2K,
well, the street car class,
I
I was hoping to have my car for that class. And, I was hoping to go there and run 750, but that would just be to, like, check the box that I ran 750s in that class. That class is going like 720s, Micro 17s. And it was an import that kicked everybody's ass last year.
Damn. We appreciate you coming by.
Yeah,
we're gonna wrap it up for this one, but I definitely want to have you back, especially after TX2K, so you can describe all the monster Mustangs you see out there.
Where can people find you?
Our website's ppdyno.com, but probably social media is the best. Palm Beach Dyno, pretty much everywhere. Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. We've got a pretty good presence on all those.
The biggies.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate it again. Thank you for coming out and showing a new podcast a little bit of love. I appreciate that. Brett, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
And we appreciate
your beard's
everybody.
coming along.
Yeah, it's getting there. I trimmed it up today. It looks nice. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.